All right, we are going to give a late June kind of little garden tour here at our house. Now, this is our very first summer living in Eastern Washington. If you're just meeting me, my name is Amy Cross, and this is the Cross Legacy, where I teach you how to save money on groceries. I have had my own garden for over 22 years, but over in the Seattle area. So this is a whole new climate for me over here in Eastern Washington, where it's 95 degrees today. When we first moved into the house, we didn't know where we wanted to put any gardens yet. We are going to end up putting a building out here in this yard, so it's still kind of a small city lot. So we haven't wanted to make too many permanent decisions on garden beds, but I did get a rolling garden bed, and now we're starting to take out those early spring items like the peas that are all done and the lettuce that was all ate up, and we're taking the rest of the heads of them out. And I just planted some yard-long beans that are supposed to be really good in this hotter climate. So I'm excited to see those grow up this summer on the trellis. And in this garden bed here, the rolling one that's on our patio, I have planted some basil and some peppers in there. And I still have some cabbages that are left over in there, but I'm not sure how they're going to do over the summer. In the Seattle area, we used to be able to grow cabbage during the summer, and it might be too hot here. And we're just laughing because there are tons of little bugs in the farming community, like in the area that we're at. So you might see them flying around a little bit. And behind me, we'll do some closer shots over there, but I have a smaller bed that is closer to the ground that I have planted with pumpkins and zucchini in there, but I also planted some watermelon, and I can't wait to be able to see a watermelon growing, but it's kind of in a play area in our backyard, and I think it will be kind of magical as those pumpkins start spilling out over the sides of the bed and they start growing. Now, our goal is to have a magical area back there with these huge pumpkins and melons that will be really fun to hang out near, but it will also mean that it'll be really hard to water in the area so we don't step on any of the vines. So we are installing an irrigation system just for that garden bed, and Mike has figured out how to use the irrigation system that's supposed to go on the classic beds. He has figured out how to use it on the modern bed. So I can still have the cool contemporary garden bed that I wanted, but the irrigation system will still work. We're looking forward to having more garden beds here at the house that we can do more things with. But again, this is our first summer here, and we're learning so much about being in a hot climate. And Mike has always wanted to have like a fence lined with sunflowers, so he has planted a ton of sunflowers along the fence back there, and he watches them every single day and is watching them grow. Some of them are already almost 2 feet tall. And then over in this corner by our house, I planted a tall 4-foot bed that I wanted to have that be a herb garden. And when we first moved in, we planted garlic in this bed because garlic goes from October to normally around mid-July. The leaves, as they start drying, will tell you when it's time to pull them. Now, I did let the blooms blossom on there. I know that I should have cut those back, but I just thought it was kind of pretty this year for the first year there to let the garlic cloves actually blossom all the way. If you do cut them back and not have them blossom, then the plant makes the energy go into growing the bulbs and not the flower part. And I did intermix in there some corn. So this is going to be 4 feet from starting off the ground, and it's going to raise up over our fence levels, which I thought would just be kind of fun to be able to see from the front yard, this massive corn growing in our backyard. So I just put a couple in there, but they're more for decorations than thinking I'm actually going to get corn on the cob from them. And a mistake I made 22 years ago when I was doing our first garden was planting mint in our garden. So I have not planted any mint. It's not taking over any beds, but I have made a garden over there that has all the different herbs that I use all the time in cooking. So I love to be able to go outside and get fresh Italian seasoning from the garden. So we have rosemary and parsley and oregano and thyme in there. There's some cilantro and a little lavender. And then the rosemary that I had at my old house, it was in my landscaping, and it actually would grow to about 4 feet. And I learned over the years that I need to keep that trimmed back more. So I'm going to make sure that I keep that trimmed all the time. I'm going to keep it trimmed so it's only about 8 inches tall and it doesn't get really woody and hard. And the same thing for the lavender. I want to keep it kind of a smaller plant and keep it trimmed so that way it will fit in that little garden bed that we have in the corner. And I love once we finally get that studio room done, the window for that faces right out to that garden bed. So I'm going to be able to sit at my desk and see the herb garden growing. For Mother's Day, it hasn't been planted yet, but I got a new hydrangea tree or bush. It's one that is like 6 to 8 feet tall, and it's called a vanilla strawberry plant. So I'm really excited to see how this grows. As we go into the fall season, it will actually go from pink and white to this like burnt, just red color that was so pretty. I fell in love with it when I saw it when we first moved over here, and then we ended up getting it for Mother's Day. But Mike's been digging some ditches and trying to get some of the old irrigation pipes out that don't work anymore. And then it's going to go into a little area that used to have this really bushy tree that was there, but it will help make a little bit of privacy between the houses. And we do live in an area that we have farm irrigation water. So for most of the months during the summertime, we will have irrigation water here in our yard. And sometimes if we're in a drought time, then they will shut that off and make sure that the farms actually get the water and not the town people to get the water, which is okay. But we've realized that this house is 80 years old and it doesn't even have one outdoor spigot for city water. So whenever we're trying to do something on the patio that we don't want to use irrigation water, we don't have any clean water to be able to use. So before the plumbers come out and we are getting that outdoor bib set up, we ended up getting a Vego retractable hose that is 100 feet long. So we can do anything we want to do out here in the backyard. And Mike was just unboxing that, and we are starting to measure exactly where we want that hose faucet to go. So we will be able to get that up this summer, and then we won't have to do like 100 trips in and out when we're trying to fill up something like a water table. I also love that this came in a couple different colors, so it works perfectly for our white house and it's not going to stand out too much. And they had other colors if it would work better in a darker color for your house. So in our yard, we're not trying to grow a massive amount of produce and food. I just like to be able to teach others how to grow food, and it's so nice to be able to go out and grab a couple things. We've been coming out for weeks now and just grabbing a handful of peas at a time, which is fun to get all of the snacks. We'll make sure to list all of the different Vego garden beds that I have in the description if you want to check them out. And they also have irrigation kits so you can do direct nozzles to each of your plants. We'll continue to make these garden videos as we move through the different seasons, and I'm learning all the new things about being in this hotter climate.